I thought, God, maybe we should have a conversation. Like, what's going on? I thought, well, that's what we do. And when you said, "Hey, are we still on?" Well, how long we been on? I don't even know. It's been at least 2 months, maybe three.
Yeah, maybe three. Not sure. Maybe October, November. Yeah.
Well, I'll tag you in Facebook. Um,
Oh, thank you.
but it's weird because it seems like I don't know what this collaboration is about, but it seems like 2 weeks go by like this. They just go by, and all of a sudden, so I did a bunch of stuff today, and walked to the beach about an hour before the show, and sat there, and I was like, What are you gonna do? What's going on? Who are you? What is life?
What's not happening?
Oh, you're about to have another show with your sister, your soul sister, Alicia. I was like, oh, okay. And then the things that have been happening to me, mostly at night, that's when I go at the beach. The
Mm.
waves started coming in, and I got this huge message. But before I say what it was, I have to say that, I kind of like, have a lot of irons in the fire on social media in terms of what I kind of plug into and say, what's the energy there? What's the energy there? And I plug into yours and others, our brothers and sisters and what. But this week, you put out about a 59-minute video that was about March. And most of the
Mm-hmm.
time, I listen to like 3 or 4 minutes and I skip in 3 or 4 minutes and I just listen to the whole thing. And it was a very powerful transmission. So I would like to talk about that. But going back
Sure.
to the beach and to what I was receiving at the time, I felt to the bones of my soul. It was the typical paradoxical teaching method of the universe, but it was like the mother wants to connect with you.
Mm.
The mother wants to connect with you. That's why the waves come as you beckon it from your heart. Like it was like so fucking deep, and it was a continuation of what's been happening at the beach. Um,
Mm.
and so the second part was like I don't know how to say this, but it was I guess the way I would say it is she said, "You know what? This is my Todd Street talk. Fuck all those narratives and all that commentary. It's up to you. It's up to you. Period. It's up to you." And that's coming off of the whole Orion's belt, Aldebaran, Pleiades,
Mm.
and where I stand, which I believe is, well, for my own, um, a huge portal. But I have a feeling there's a whole bunch of them.
Well, I'm in the future, so we've just hit March, and I can tell you that March feels like a continuation of February, but even more amplified, even more. Um, I mean, I don't know how much where you want to go with this. I mean, I opened up my social media late last night, early this morning, and I mean, the world just gone into another layer and round of, uh, of whole, But I have this sense of, as I've watched everything unfurl on the world stage ever since we hit 2026. So we're looking at Epstein files, we're looking at arrests, and when I say that, like, come on, like we can do better than that. But like what we're seeing roll out, and I think it has to be rolled out. Oh, it's 11:11. It has to be rolled out in a digestible way for the masses. And then obviously we had Mexico, I think was last weekend. I mean,
Yeah, that was just right
I've got,
here
yeah,
where
like,
I'm at.
oh, of course.
Oh, we haven't talked
Did
since
you?
then, huh?
No, we haven't talked since then. I'm like, Todd, did you let off some
Yeah.
sonic boom and the whole
No, I don't think that's what
cartel goes?
happened, but I could have been a part of a team that did it. I don't know.
Well, that's what I want to talk about, because and now we've got obviously Iran and everything that's happening in the Middle East, but this is literally how I have seen it play out for many, many years. And I'm sure I'm not alone in that. I'm sure many, many people have seen this kind of, it's a marker point rollout of where we're at, and things that have to come to the surface and unravel and get to certain, like, I was talking about how we talk about choice points, and then this term came in last year about soul points. It's like predestined points that have to, I feel like we're watching the collective unravel on those sort of nodal points that we have to get to before we kind of enter into the full flipping of the script, and the switch goes off and we enter into, which we're already having tastes of, this new reality that we're stepping into, but we want to migrate as many people as possible across into that are ready in a vibrational way. And yeah, let's talk about, like, I think what we're seeing witness on the global scale in the mass media is like a faction of what's actually happening multidimensionally with the cleanup crew. That, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm exhausted. Like, it's been
It's a motherfucker. I wake up every morning going, man, this is a motherfucker. Yeah, so you're doing work. And if you
Mhm.
look at the proportionate, you know, if you look at it proportionately,
Mm.
we have gone through these individual journeys, which only we know within ourselves, and that's got the human. It's got the doubts and the desperation and everything. And why wouldn't it be the same
Mm.
for the collective?
Mm. Mm. Mhm.
So, like what you're saying, like even the joke about Puerto Vallarta, which is really, that's where the greatest wisdom is. Damn right. They told me you're holding down the fort here. Now, there may be a bunch of other ones. I'm not saying I'm anything, but there's some shit going down. My point is that what's happening at the superficial level is minute. It's beyond
Mhm.
minute. Just like our perspective of who we are at the monadic table. The human is a bad MF. And so, there's a lot of forces that are trying to keep that from coming into our awareness, but it's happening, you know?
Yeah.
So I see it the same way. We're coming into our own. Just like tonight, walking to the beach and going, "What am I doing? Oh, I got a show." and
I
and
actually thought you forgot. I was like, oh,
no,
Todd.
but I'm having this communion with what I'm seeing, with the
Mm.
beach, with the everything's and it's like, okay, this is it. Well, does it make sense? No.
Mm.
does it put does it give you, it only gives you the energy that you express it with. It's the heart. And it's
Mm.
crazy. So I want to share this one thing, that I'm going to shut up. I want to share this quote that I saw. And this could be
Mm.
applied a lot of different ways. Wait a minute. Let me find it. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Maybe not. All right. So this quote, and I guess my soul wants me to say it. Yeah, I guess so. All right. Okay, here we go. No, I found it. He said it better. Now, this is a dude named Stephen Chua, Chua, Area 51 whistleblower, October 1960. to March 2021. All right. Now, I'm saying this the way I felt it, which wasn't literal. It wasn't about boogeymen. It was about the I am fucking soul. All right. He says, in the presence of deep love, they fall apart. You can literally make them fall apart. Remember that. They cannot hold on to you. They cannot hold on to high energy. They just cannot. It's like a fire and they shrink instantly. Deep love destroys them instantly. So it really, and that came like right before I went to the beach for a walk. So, these things are not mistakes, but that's powerful. And whoever's a part of that quote and whoever produced it and put it out on social media, whatever, I don't care. We're all part of it, I guess. But yeah. All right, you're up.
That is powerful. And I think maybe we'll start there. I want to talk about I've met some really incredible light beings this week that are just totally in a line with the peace and the new reality, who have been on this planet for much longer than I have, that are still raring to go. And I have so much admiration and respect for the elders who have been in these physical human suits for longer than I have, because it's dense down here, you know? Um, but what I'm seeing, just to back off that, Todd, like the love that we generate when we connect with others or another that have the same mission, the same frequency, we are literally in real time, like with all the chaos that's destructing and falling apart, which it needs to, we're actually in real time rejoining the dots and nodal points, and we're weaving this incredible harmonic frequency of connection, of love, of remembrance. Each time we come in contact with someone who has a soul frequency that may vibrate in a similar love frequency of ours, we remember a part of our soul because we have shared journeys or shared experiences from who knows where. And I love the fact that you're unraveling your cosmic heritage and your soul journey out on the beach and communing with the mother and bouncing around the entire cosmos, because I think that's one of the most important things that is happening or is accessible, is to really remember who we are and why we've come here at this time. And I was listening, and I was able to connect with Raylene this past week, and I'm like, it's like this explosion of light, even though it's tiring. And yes, we're tired and we're working multi-dimensionally, and I don't feel like I've had a day off in months. Even if I might have some downtime, I'm still working. Um, this dismantling, what I've been talking about, the dismantling of the dark web, of the interference, of the bullshit that we've had to come up against time after time after time. We get forward, and then the shit hits the fan in the most brutal ways. There's no power or potency in that anymore. We're actually bringing the entire grid down. And I think this month coming up in March it's got some real potency to it, because I have been saying, and yet to witness on the global scale, we'll have a quarter of the year in absolute chaos, but then things start to balance out, and that's when we really start to make the shift into the new reality for, I don't want to say the masses, but those who are ready. There's so much of us have been opening gates and portals and gateways into this new frequency, and it's been pouring in. You've had a taste of it. You're like, what reality? I think it was when we got on last time, you're like, I had 3 days of like, what reality am I in? That's kind of where we're heading to, but not everyone has had those experiences, because we've all had roles to play. We've all got the unraveling to do. My God, I've been the most crankiest person in the last 72 hours. It's just this tired, fatigued, low hum. And I've been talking a lot about what happens on the weekend, because the weekend, have you noticed this, Todd? Every weekend, some shit goes down and everything ramps up. and everything gets wonky. And I think that's why we're doing so much. I mean, I just woke up from probably almost a 12-hour like sleep, night shift. I haven't had it's the only thing I have on this weekend is you and my writing and whatever else. I don't have any other commitments, so I've actually allowed myself that time to rest. But I can tell you, I was literally doing energy work for the last 12 hours in my sleep state. Like I'm waking up going, whew, that was intense. Like, but it's actually opening and pathing the ways. And I had some incredible downloads this week of, through this, I met this soul sister through a friend of mine. This is the first time we met in human um, form, but I'm sure we go way back. And, we went in the city and we just had this beautiful exchange for a couple of hours. And that night, I continued to dream on. And she has loved ones who have stepped into the new reality across the rainbow bridge, let's say. And I was dreaming about them and all the frequencies that are coming in for March and how it's got this co creative essence of, and it kind of throws in a thread of this musical vibration and era that we're stepping into of this co creative space where those that are the true creative geniuses that have been downtrodden by humanity for being different or awkward or on the spectrum or whatever you want to call it, like this is our time to rise and shine. And I mean, we haven't been disappointed yet for 2026, but March is like we're switching up gears again.
Hey, that was a great lead in. That was great.
Was it?
Because it's like we focus on the density, and rightly so, with the conditioning and the programming, the shadows, that whole trip. All right, and then you start to realize Sigmund Freud, even Carl Jung, all due respect, was all part of the thing. It was all part of like something's wrong with you, It's all part of like you got to figure your way out of this matrix. Well, you don't have to figure your way out of this matrix. Matrix, if you look at the etymology in Greek, is mother, mater, okay, and the other one is womb. I think that's whatever the other one besides Greeks. It's popular, but here's what I'm getting. We all have sight into other aspects of ourselves. For some, it's very galactic. I'm going to the beach, and like you said, they're showing me the history, and I'm realizing, first of all, I thought, oh, this is my trip. This is what happened. I came in through Andromeda, and I came to Sirius, and then I went to the belt of Orion, and went to Aldebaran. I saw my beloved in Pleiades, and we started a mission. We went to Earth, and I feel that to my bones. But then I started to realize this is our story.
Yeah.
This is our story. So it's not about, this is the biggest hook, that this life is preeminent. This life is, do or die. No. This is the one that got the darkest before the dawn. This is the one where it all comes together like a summary life. And where we remember, but in order to remember, we feel the extreme of the density. And we've done this. And this is what I think you're talking about with March, when I was talking to you beforehand about the show or the thing that you did 2 or 3 days ago about March. But I think this is where it lands. Look, those friends that we had that we played with when we were young and everyone told us they weren't real, they were fucking real. And so were when they got the sleep paralysis and the fucking gargles on your fucking chest and all the other things. But we've come, I used to say a lot, and I'm going to stop now, but we've overcome GMOs, fluoride, chemtrails, TV programming, etc., Project Mockingbird, whatever. That's nothing. That's nothing to what we have transformed, because it's not about overcoming, So I really feel that the acknowledgement and recognition of our intuition and knowing within our personal selves, to include our past lives and the
Mm.
story that we all share together, which is much fucking like Republicans and Democrats and Trump and wars and this. It's that, just like that. That was the whole trick. This is where we bust out. So, but I feel like that's a
Mm.
very important part of our transformation, where our belief system kicks it up a level and says, oh shit, this is the real, this is it. Like everything behind me, I'm going to let that go. We've been traveling through planets and galaxies and solar systems, and yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So, yeah,
Just to
thank you.
land right here. Just to land right here. Well, you've inspired me, Todd, because now I go to the beach far more often than I ever did. And every time I hear you talk about it, I'm like, oh, I've got to plan another beach trip. And I don't live that close. It takes me at least 40 minutes by car to get to the closest beach, just to give. Um, and I went yesterday. Actually, I was guided to, I think it's, I'm doing more energy work with the land than I ever have done in years. And I went to one place in the hills, connected with the bodies of water, and then I went down to the peninsula and down into the ocean. And it was hot yesterday. Took my bestie with me, my little four-legged fur friend, and it took it like an hour and a half, and we get there, and I'm still decoding this, but I know it means something so important. And I drove up and down, and I parked right at this spot. And I look up, and like staring right at me is, I think it was like a caravan or like a RV, but literally it said 1415, like on it. I don't know about you, Todd. I'm a number plates girl. Like everything talks to me in numbers and symbols, and it's when I'm out driving. So it's like nothing passes me, and I can read a whole story while I'm out. But it was 1415. It said Mars Jupiter, and I went, interesting, interesting. And so instantly I get this entire download story just from seeing that. And I was like, oh, that's right. So 1415 apparently is when Three Eye Atlas passes Jupiter, and then it leaves our solar system if you follow the narrative. And I've been saying for a long time, if we're looking at Three Eye Atlas just as an opening of the frequency of our intergalactic, interstellar, cosmic frequency and friends that's going to blast the door and create this explosion of light through this experience that we call Earth. I think this is actually what came to me in my dream space when I was doing all the energy work. I was like, oh, it makes sense. It was like this flyby just brought a frequency that really activated a lot of cosmic intelligence within people, regardless of the narrative of everyone has a story of what it certainly for me and many others, it just maybe just the whole collective focusing on the sky, it brought this uplifting. So on the 14th, 15th, I feel is a huge turning point. And I said that's when the amplification of that cosmic intelligent energy hits sort of this abundant frequency that's going to open some gates. It's going to open some gates to be having the clarity of where we're heading forward in what we're creating and constructing and opening new doorways. And then obviously we've got, well, then there's the Mars component. So that's the Jupiter 3i Atlas little download that I got. But this is how it interweaves, because me and Mars don't have a very good past relationship. I've had many.
We all have our sore spots.
It's a sore spot. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. But this time last year, around March 14 to the end, like that period, the second half of March last year, I was completely taken out in these underground facilities that seemed like it was in Mars. I mean, it could have been anywhere, but it had that dry, dusty kind of context to it. It didn't feel like it was here. And that was when these operations that have been taking place really felt like it commenced. So it kind of fits in a lot with the themes of a lot of the wrap up of these projects where people's consciousness are being operate in sort of, how do we say it? I'm trying to find polite words. In density, in weaponized, being weaponized. Um, this whole sort of, we have to collapse these warring facets of our consciousness that are operating in other realms to come back here, because this is where the party begins. And I have been
Exactly.
shown, yeah, and that's the cleanup that's happening. Is we've got to, I believe that when we operate multidimensionally, often it is to anchor in the highest possible timeline for humanity. And then there is warring factions that take place in that. But I do believe that we've overcome a lot of cataclysms that could have been 10 times worse than what we have actually had, because of the work that we've done multidimensionally in those sort of realms and cleaning up.
Yeah. And the
But now I think it's,
go ahead.
but I think now where we're at is really about closing them down, wrapping them up, completing whatever needs to be completed, and like the operations now are retrieving our consciousness from these other realms and where they've been operating, or where the consciousness is being harvested or leaked, um, so that we can use our co-creative genius energy to be able to work with that abundant frequency and what we're actually creating. Because I think the emphasis for a lot now as we move through March and beyond is like, what are we building? What are we creating? What are we? There's enough that is dismantling. It's like keeping the focus more on um, creating the pathways of higher consciousness to help support the people that will be going through the shock or the devastation. I mean, it's all out in the open now. I mean, nothing's a conspiracy theory anymore. It's all fact. um, but I don't think it's fully hit the collective consciousness in the way it's like, how people have a delay in a reaction. I think the delay is kind of, it's sinking in, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we we can't go back to life as it was. And I don't want to go into the story as much as I want to tell it. I'm like, I probably shouldn't share it publicly. But let's say I had a little conversation with some authority figures last weekend.
What? I know you're my soul sister, but I know you were gangster too.
From way back. I grew up on, Tupac and and by the way, that is the actual name of my dog. I call him Parky for short, but his name's Tupac. So, we have the gangster element happening from way back when. But all I will say is I've had a lot of run-ins with authority figures over the years, especially around COVID time. I was one of those rebels. I like to pride myself on being a bit of a rebel. And I feel like it's just about reclaiming your own personal power and authority. And it's like the inner dial to me is so powerful in recognizing how far you've come in your own process. Because people of authority, when you're dealing with them, there's an actual frequency, and that's probably why I want to share it. There's a frequency that kind of comes through them. They're probably not even aware of it, but it's connected to the system that tries to rattle you or unhinge you to conform, or, to hook you
like a
in.
like
And
a
it
bank, like a bank. When you walk into a bank, and you're like, oh my god. Like, what?
yeah,
Yeah, no, that's what you're talking about.
that's exactly what I'm talking about. And I had to sadly, I've had to, you know what, until my awakening, I was the best law abiding citizen, perfect credit score, you name it. Since my awakening, let's just say I became, I'm just like, I just don't want to participate, you know. And so I had this interaction last weekend, and I was on the road, and anyway, I won't go into the specifics, but you can kind of get the whole thing. And we came and were having this conversation. They were trying to explain to me that I did something. And I said to them, no, I didn't. And so we were having it out. And it was like my higher self jumped in. And I was rattling off all these things that I didn't even know. Like, it was like my human was like, oh, that was good. Like, oh, whoa. And I just saw the backing off. And they kind of like, kind of stepped away and was like, they just didn't want to deal with me. I think they saw me as a easy target, a woman on her own. It was an easy target for some revenue, perhaps. But as soon as I opened my mouth, they realized I was
A
trouble.
galactic, multi-dimensional. What the fuck is this? We've never
um,
seen this before.
but the thing that I did differently, regardless of the outcome, it was kind of like, no, I don't consent to this type of bullshit inverted like frequency that's trying to scare tactic and to control and all that. Like I really have a thing about that. I've always had a thing about that. But I what I did was I just reinforced my energetic field in that moment. And all the times in the past I've been quite internally shaking or quite rattled. This time I was cool as cucumber, and I was like, nah, not today.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
like, what are you gonna do?
No, we're not.
Kill?
No,
What are you gonna do?
yeah.
Kill me? And if you do, I'll come right
Like,
back and kick your ass. I mean, we've been doing this. You want to keep doing this? Yeah. But
don't you
that's
know who I am on the astral?
but
Just kidding.
this is what I'm talking about. What I said earlier. And I love the commentary. Please continue. I mean, because it's explaining what's happening
Mm,
now. Now. And there is something, I'm going to say this, all right? I'm not saying it's a gospel, but I'm just saying there's something to acknowledging our galactic, our elemental ties, all the things that we've experienced individually. There's
mm,
something to this, to acknowledge it because we all share it. It may not be the same thing. You may come from a whole different neighborhood in the tree of life. You may be on the other side at the northwest corner, and I'm at the southeast corner, but we're all in the same place. That's what I heard tonight at the beach, today at the beach. That's what I heard. I
mm,
heard she, she wants to connect with you. I know that sounds like new age, but this was real. I felt it in
mm,
every bone in my body. And I don't think this is some kind of like, this is what you need to go do, go to the beach and try to, put your feet in the sand. And no, I feel like this is,
mm,
and what you've just described, all the, for this podcast right now is what's happening. And the more that we believe it, that's the only way I could put it,
mm,
which I really feel like is based on sharing it.
mm,
The more powerful it gets. And look, they're dropping bombs in Iran, We're not looking at that type of thing the way we would have 5 years ago or 10 years ago. We are seeing this from an energetic level. It's because of our multidimensional memories. This life is important. The reason it's important is what you brought up, and that is this is where you cross the T and dot the I. Even if you're the last aspect of your multidimensionality to know what the fuck is going on, you still have this innate, instinctive, the I am soul, which I was told is the heart and mind of spirit. I don't know. That's just the way I understood it. And to me, it's like, the best way I could say it with what we're doing is like that quote that I read. is to speak and be from the heart. Like, I know it doesn't make sense. You could have a bunch of tanks pull up in front of you. That's how you're going to blow you up. But seriously, we've all had these moments. And really, doing them with others, like in this physical incarnation, is so
Mm.
much more powerful than we know. This is the thickest, deepest, darkest densities that we've ever traversed. And when you make peace, really make peace, not just fucking lip service, with those physical incarnates that have been your antagonists or whatever the case is, that's a multi-dimensional quantum entanglement. Can't even speak to it. It's exponential beyond that. It affects all points and every point in between, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
thanks. Back to you.
Thanks, Todd. How can I even follow that up? I don't even know where to go from there. that well, that was very powerful, and I thank you for bringing that up because I think that's kind of where we're at in the reminder that we have this powerful life force energy within us, and that's the spark of creation. That is love, and when we're in that state, anything and everything is possible. So there's a whole crew that have come here right now that hold that, and we know what the end game is. We're just playing it out in real time right now, and it's so important to be able to hold that frequency within ourselves first and foremost. That solidification of that strengthening of our own energy field and that vibration of the internal connection to the higher timeline and the optimum, the bigger picture, to be able to navigate through all the weird nuances that want to come at us or however it approaches. But we're doing that in groups, in teams. We're doing that en masse. And if it wasn't for people like you and the people that are watching right now, we would be in 10 times much more of a mess. I don't think Earth would be here if it wasn't for people like yourself and those watching that are here doing the work that we're doing. And it's not just on the physical. We carry the battle scars of what we're doing in all the facets of us, but not for that much longer. And I truly wholeheartedly believe that we're
Yeah.
moving into the times. Yeah.
That's why I think when you take subjects like the Epstein files and the things that are, beyond the salacious and beyond the sensationalism, but these are very, very energetically rooted things in the deepest, darkest parts of the energetic universe for a reason in this physical density. The reason that we can and will and are handling these things is because we handle them within ourselves. And we haven't given ourselves enough credit. There's still victim consciousness threads that are running through connections. And it's okay. But that may be true and it never ends. But we've got to give ourselves some credit. And I believe a big part of that's coming out through me tonight. Anyway, with Mother Earth telling me, I don't know what happened, and that is our memories. Our memories is all we need. We don't need an education. We don't need a protocol. We don't need a platform. We don't need a process or modality. Our memories are the key. So I know you in Pleiades. I see a pattern. You're born on the same day as somebody I know down here who I met in Pleiades. I got Orion's belt talking to me, Aldebaran Pleiades, coming to this, like all this stuff. This is our cookie crumb trail home. This is it. And to your point, we're doing it together. And the crazy thing is, from the human perspective, is when you realize that you've been doing it together the whole
Mm-hmm.
time. The whole time.
Mm-hmm.
This is gaining traction very, very fast. So, what's March look like?
Yes.
It's going to be an easy
Well,
ride, isn't it? It's going to be an easy ride, isn't it?
oh, it's gonna be so easy. We're just gonna like fly right through. Um, well, I mentioned the 14th, 15th. That's gonna be interesting. I feel like that probably will be felt more on an energetic level. I don't think that's going to be anything of great significance that will be noticeable on the world stage arena. Of course, we've got Equinox. I actually have been guided to go up to Brisbane on Equinox and connect with some really powerful souls up there. I'm also going to be holding an in person event up in Brisbane on Equinox. I'm in the throes of putting that all together. So this is the first time I've held an in-person event. This is how much I'm being stretched. I'm like, go here, do this, do that. Like my higher self is not giving up on me. Every day it's like there's a list. All right. And it's like, we've got to get to the finish line. We've got to get this done. We've got to get that done. And it's come through so strong and so powerful that it is around, well, the name that I've called it is the equinox immersion, but it's the the subheading is the remembrance and the mission, and that's where we're at. Exactly what you just said. So
And,
yeah.
you know, and again, what I love about what I saw on that 59-minute, whatever that was that you did that I was citing a couple days ago, and what you're saying now, right? It's like this intelligence. That's what I'm going to call it. This tech, this intelligence, this awareness that we've come into, which we're still having to go through PTSD kind of things, and like, is this really happening? Can I trust this? Can I trust this? And those things are, falling away. But it
Mm,
comes. It's not about this is what you need to do. This is what's happening. This is what's happening. What's happening to you is happening to me. I
mm,
feel it. Like I can feel Mother Earth as much as we merged tonight. Like I've never merged like that before, but I can feel the fire she's got under my ass. But it's not. It's not like the old. It's like own this. Like this is who you are. You're more than galactic beings. You're more. This is just this volume in the book of life, and there's like 144, and this is only number 6. But so much is coming through in the memories. Like I know just from research I've done, for example, and I'm not saying I'm an expert. There are many, many indigenous, aboriginal. Well, I don't want to get carried away. There are enough to be considered that talk about the 3 stars in Orion's belt. And
mm,
they talk about Pleiades, obviously, that's much more well known. We have a story. We have
mm,
a story, and that story is our story, every one of us. And it's
mm.
very personal, but it's also collective. Just like some of the
Yeah,
downloads we
it
get. And you start to go, is this personal? Or is this, am I taking one for the team?
is.
The fact,
Right?
the fact is, they're one and the same. And that's what I
Mm,
heard from Mother Earth tonight. Everything, and how did she say it? She said, you know, I want you, now this is human words, but I connect with me. This is all I want. Feel me,
mm,
merge with me in perpetuity because we've always been connected. And then I understood or I heard she is, she originated you or something like that.
mm,
And, and then I heard, but you originated her. And then I was like, okay,
mm,
I don't understand this. but but the point is it's everything. We're connected to everything, and we feel through the prejudices and the biases, and they do this war over here. And I'm not taking anything away. I'm not saying no, and that people aren't suffering or whatever. But this is an all or nothing proposition. We're either going to see this as fucking energy, or we're going to
Mm.
stay plugged in to this matrix that the only reason it even has any power over us is because we believe it does. We're the boss, you know? So there's
That's
some
it.
really big work being done right now, I think, with people around the world that have been, brothers and sisters that are in these circles that, have landed in certain geographical areas for a very good reason. Not that the human understands it and is fully conscious of it, but it's a result of even from our perspective the minimal level of remembrance we've had. But now that remembrance is coming in, and as it comes in, I mean, I don't want I don't want to get rude, but as it comes in, it's you know I mean, it's more than walk softly and carry a big stick. I mean, we're coming online, and it's not just the whole thing about transforming. It's what because that's done. We're not taking this
Mm.
shift anymore. This is it. It's done. It's what are we going to do with it? What are we going to do with this? This
Mm.
universally seated, this whole trip. This everyone's involved, and we're informed and we're here when it's happening. Like, what are we going to do with this? Like, we're here to earn our stripes and create something that's never been created before. And it's not prophecy or propaganda or predictions or, you know, all this stuff is going away. It's what
We're
you
going to
just
make
said
it
your thing was about. The remembrance. What'd you call it? What's it called?
the remembrance, the mission.
Yeah, that's it. That's
Mm.
it. Yeah. Thank you.
We're here to make it fucking beautiful, is what we're here to do, Todd. The cleanup crew has been in operation. We've been cleaning up all sorts of shitty, grotesque things. But we also, when we remember who we are, and we can call in the threads, and that's the beautiful thing. We can call in the threads of the facets of our multidimensional self. So your Pleiades self, that your Orion self, whatever, your elemental self, you know the fairy, the aspects that the aspect of you that is a creative genius in writing music or composing or create. We pull in those facets of our consciousness that is masterful in those areas, and we unify that within, so that we don't have to go to school and study in university for however long. We can actually just tap into the aspect of us that's already mastered it way beyond what we would consider a PhD level here on this realm, and we start to collaborate with those that have the skills and expertise that we don't have, that makes a full fusion of this. I mean, that's what I've been tapping into, this creative energy for, for about 2 years, well, longer, but in my dream space for about 2 years. And when the fire horse was coming in, I was like, oh, that's the energy. This is the creative energy where we just, and that's what I was shown in my dream this week, is like we literally are, there's so many benevolent beings that are in non physical that are supporting us right now to get to, I'm being careful with my words here, to get to the end of this era junction point and tip over into what is to come, that we are literally already in the process of creating, and there's already an aspect of us that's in the new, having a good great old time. So we're connecting with that part too, that's already walked the path of, you know when we're talking out of non-linear terms, there I've connected with what I would call my future self many times, and like been shown how to path my way to getting to that point. And that's what's so exciting. I had two visitations this week in amongst all the, yeah, I did. So you've been having a visit from the mother, but I've been having a visit from masculine energies. One was on Monday, Yeah, I think it was Monday. It could have been Tuesday, so almost a week ago. I was actually walking out in the forest near my house, and there's these beautiful, really, really tall trees, and it's really magical. I've had many very profound cosmic experiences in that forest, and a lot of remembrance and a lot of purging too. You know, going back to 2020, I was in the middle of a deep purge, and so that forest has witnessed a lot just with me alone, let alone all the other people that moved through there. But anyway, I was walking, and all of a sudden, so I've had a visitation, and I'm not going to go into too many details, but I would say a very, very high dimensional cosmic being who's masculine. And he only rocks up at really important times. Like, he's not someone I can call upon, he's not someone that I can summon. He just shows up when he shows up. And I pay attention because when he shows up and he tells, oh, I'm getting chills. When he has shared the things that he has since the last 5 or 6 years, they've all come true in very specific details. So you know, I put a lot of um, faith into, and also it's, in any of these experiences, if you're communing with another being that tells you intel, you've also got to feel it within yourself if that's true too. We can't take anything on you know a
Yeah, but
word
if he's been
basis.
right
We've got
every
to feel
time,
in.
if he's been right every time, you might want to listen.
Exactly. He has a good track record, so I do pay attention. But it's like when he tells me things, I apps like it opens my heart, and I weep. Like I become very emotional, very teary, but in not in a sadness way, but in an overwhelm because of the love that I feel. And often when we're dialoguing with these beings, they hold this frequency of love that we know is beyond this world, but we can generate it. We have access to it.
Yeah,
But it's an otherworldly type of love.
yeah. It's like that quote I read. My question is, and asked this question for the potential code it could provide for many, in my opinion, because
Mm-hmm.
the wisdom or the code, the new code, I'm going to call it new code, comes through the personal experience. So in these situations where this aspect has come in that you can't call, what has been your disposition at that time? What has been where was your heart? Where was your mind? Where was your soul? Where were you at? And was there I have a feeling there was some kind of direct relationship uh, to that essence coming in because of your
Yeah,
state of
yeah,
being.
yeah. In a state of, oh, probably not this time around, but if I go back to the previous times, complete utter despair. Like my whole world's been thrown apart, more so on a personal relationship level, and just not knowing or not understanding or feeling like I have been abandoned, perhaps, or that, abandonment wound around. I actually, I need, no, I don't want to say need, but it would be nice to have someone that can hold me steady through. It's not easy when you're consciously aware of all the multi-dimensional cleanup. Sometimes you just want to fall apart. Sometimes you just want someone in the physical to go, it's okay. I've got you. You don't have to worry about cooking tonight because, oh. So historically, when he's rocked up, I have, because I say it's about relationship, but it's not necessarily about, I mean, it is about love, yeah, but it's about um, feeling as though I have support on my mission. And that's always been a thing that's got to me. Even when relationships have fallen apart or there's been some sort of chaos that has happened, not so much in recent times, but in past times, the thing that actually has got me triggered the most, Todd, is the fact that I'm like, but what about the mission? You just walked away. Okay, but what about the mission? We have important work to do here. We have a whole planet to flip. And you were a part of that and you forgot. And like, sorry, I'm going to go on a rant here, but that has been the part that has got to me the most. Not so much about the human aspect of the relationship of people going ways, but like, where's my partner that I get to do this work with that's hard and heavy? Where's the partner that I get to co-collaborate to create the light and the beauty? You know, it's all of it. It's not just one or the other. So just, I guess, to paint a picture, that's
No, I
been
get
sort of
that.
where he's.
I totally get that, and I would say like going back to what's come to me in this show for me. Thank you and everybody else because we're all part of it, but has been that remembering. Why aren't we giving? And I don't even want to put it in these words. Let me think of better ones. Think about the coincidences, the synchronicities, the things that happen with the weather, the chance meetings, the soul connections. Through all of this, at least for the last 12 or 14 years, think about that. And what? Why do we move away from it? Why do we move into doubt or not consider it? Because of what? The weight and the density of this Alicia or Todd or whoever it is, Joe or Bill or Susan. We are the most relevant part of our multidimensionality, but we are not the end-all cure-all here. So it's almost like I used to tell my kids, the universe does not revolve around you. And then when they got older and they heard Soulogy, they were like, the universe does revolve around me. but you know, the thing is there's two lenses to look at ourselves through. And for us to look at ourselves, even if we want to say, oh, ancestral lineage or whatever the case is, or DNA is past hereditary, no, I'm talking about our real life. Like this life, as crazy as it might sound, is 1 year in the life, if it's that much. It might be 10 seconds, right? But it's a hell of a ride. This has been like a nexus point. But you know, going back to what you said, I'm feeling this tonight, which is to recognize and acknowledge, fucking acknowledge it. We've acknowledged our traumas. We've acknowledged our biases and prejudices. We've all had glimpses of where we've come from, even if the words aren't there. We're soul. And soul is beyond multidimensionality. We're just looking in the very recent past, and we're talking Orion, and we're talking Pleiades, and we're talking this and that and the other thing. And look, we spent a lot of time talking about Atlantis and Lemuria. But there were hundreds of thousands of other iterations prior to that had technology that was through the roof. And there's something to, you know, acknowledge. It's not like, okay, well, you got to, you know, get in touch with the AI, or you got to do this tech, or get a med bed, or wait for a ship to come down to prove, you know, no. We're it. We are it. And it's just based on our personal beliefs, which has been hindered by a lack of love for ourselves. And therefore, that projects to a world that is out of balance. And we have the power. We've not come all this way for nothing. People say, oh, I came to see the big show. Well, yeah, you know what? If you bought a ticket to the big show, take the fucking ride, because it's not like some easy, you know, ease and grace thing. So that's what we're doing. And it's time for us to put our big boy underwear on, our big girl panties, and say, you know, I am a soul. I'm a soul. Your secret space, bring it on, whatever you want to do. But you know what? I have to consent. And that's the bottom fucking line. You know, so I feel like this is where we're at, you know, and if mother is lighting a fire under my ass, I can't be the only one.
No,
I might be the first one because I step out of line more often, but no. Yeah. Thank you.
thank you, Todd. Thank you. Well, if we're talking about soul remembrance, this being that I sharing about, I have a lot of history with, and I've been shown different pieces over the years. Only I don't ask for it; I wait for it to come and be shown. But from what I understand, he always comes in. He's very, 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 very tall. Like I'm talking buildings tall, not you know, like. So when I was walking in these tall trees, I was like, looking up. But he always come to me in a lot of like his apparat, like his apparel that he wears is very weaponized. That's how I recognize him. That's how we know each other. We've battled together for a long time. He doesn't have a human incarnated version of himself in this lifetime, but our mission cosmically has been around trying to stop the atrocities that have been done to children. And he's shown that through many of our sojourns together, that's been what we have teamed and missioned and partnered with because it personally affected us eons ago of being sort of the witness of what we would consider these days SRA, witnessing that was, and that's been this repetitious cycle that we're closing out. So he's here to support me, and he sends in humans that hold a frequency, to help support me along the way. He'll throw me a bone. He'll bring in people at certain points to help support me. And I'm not just speaking romantically. I'm talking about he'll send in the right people at the right time who have the skill set and expertise that can hold the space and the capacity in the way that I need at that moment. Especially if I'm working on some really dark, dense, heavy stuff. And every time he's announced that someone will enter my life in such specific detail, it's always happened. So he has a good track record. So this time I was walking, and I noticed that his apparel that he was wearing is no longer in a militant style of warring. He was actually a clear channel. It was almost like and this word that I keep hearing is the war is over. The war is over. And even though saying that
When
with
was
what
this?
we're
When
with
did this happen?
Monday or Tuesday,
Okay.
and interestingly enough, I wasn't yet known that I was going to meet up with this soul sister who has connections and ties into part of her history and her beloved, and it's sort of the war is over and John Lennon connection. But anyway, that's a whole other story that I won't go into just now. But this phrase of like the war is over, which is talking from the higher realms, of course, but it's going to filter in. So it's like when we look at what's happening on the world stage, it's the very first time I've seen him in clear as a clear channel, not weaponized or fighting or battling. And I'm like, that is huge. I've never seen him appear like that. And that was what took me by surprise.
That's fucking
And
huge. That's fucking huge. I don't want to interrupt you, but I have to ask you this question for
yeah,
the last 6
sure.
minutes. This is really powerful, and if we can look at it from the perspective of the collective, as the individual goes, so goes the collective. So here's our sister's story, right? I asked you, were you in a certain state when these visitations would occur? And you said yes. And then you expressed in a very human way what that was and why. I'm listening to you, and I don't even know how to explain it. But like, it's like, oh, this makes sense. This is what happened to me, but it's not the same. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, again, I think it's speaking to what's happening. what's happening. And that is, my question is, so when you reach this state of despair from your multidimensionality and your human consciousness, there was a void, and it was the opposite gender, let's just say. I'm just looking at it going, is there a relationship? Is that like her masculine coming in from that place of void, from that place of, perceived lack or limitation? But it's more than that. This is like at a soul level. It's weird, this whole series of incarnations on Earth, because it's almost like, the way I would put it is, we have a soul. We know that. That's impenetrable. But we created this space, and we created something called consciousness. And that consciousness was like an imprint of our soul in this place that we created. And we started to give and take, and all the stuff happened. And, it's almost like, I don't know, that's just me, but listening to you, it sounds to me, what I'm experiencing, what I feel you're experiencing, and I have a feeling many, many others are. I don't talk to a lot of people, but on this show. And I'm seeing it. It's literally, and I heard this, I think it was 3 nights ago. I don't remember exactly, because I just remember for the second time that it happened. But it was, the information would have been in words. The left hemisphere, the right hemisphere, the north hemisphere, and the south hemisphere are all combining, right? As within, without.
Whoa.
Yeah. So I was
Yeah.
like, whoa. So I really feel like that, as much as this world has taught us that we're not enough, and the PTSD and the echoes of that are still there, but they're fading and fading and fading like false flag frequencies, okay? And bullshit narratives, i.e., Project Bluebeam. But we're remembering. That's really
Mm.
the truth. That's all we need. And it's one thing. Who was it the other day? One of the sisters was on 2 or 3 shows back and said, and I totally agree. It's not, it's acknowledging and recognizing, but it's acting, thinking, speaking, and acting from that place. No longer, uh, subjugated to the old programs and conditioning. In one way
Mm.
you can say you're freeing yourself. Another way you can say, fuck this shit. I'm doing me. But that's what we are. I mean, it's a colossal transformation, and it's just beginning. Like, we are
Yeah.
going to blow the roof off this thing, and we're going to do it from our hearts. And that's the crazy thing. And you mentioned creativity. And
Mm.
uh, I feel that, and again, I'm not saying I know everything, but I feel like our emotions, our greatest weakness, is our greatest strength.
It's
And
a
when
superpower.
we centralize all of that and we start to create from that space, that's a creativity that, in my humble opinion, is something that no other species or incarnation has ever achieved. Our ability to create is
Yeah.
is that's the gift. That's the that's the payoff. We didn't come all this way just to suffer and go, oh man, that was tough. Let's go do it again. And we're like, fuck you. I'm not doing this again. But if you come out on the other side, and I really believe we're gods and goddesses in the making through this series of incarnations, through the human lineage, you might say, this big giant branch of the tree of life, you know, is this is what we're being prepared to do, to be able to move forward, see everything for what it is, and create with integrity and humility and love. You know what I mean? I know it sounds fluffy, love, and light, but you know, you can talk it, but you walk the talk. I really feel like this is what's happening with us, and it's
Mm.
beautiful. and it's
Mm,
painful and it's confusing. But it's happening. That's the thing. It's happening. Thank you.
that is our greatest superpower as human beings, and it is unique. I don't think any other species in this entire universe has the ability that we do to work with our creative, co creative force to manifest in the very unique ways that we are able to and haven't been able to. I feel like maybe haven't fully been able to allow to or to fully step into when we're carrying density, but the level of clearing and shifting that we've done over various years and through our awakening process that is brutal for a reason is so that we can refine ourselves, because anything that we are going to create has to be embodied by us and through us. And so, if we want to create in pristine frequency, the vessel in which it needs to be created has to be refined first. That's why it's so hard and challenging, I believe, is that we're just becoming more and more of ourselves and unfucking ourselves.
You ca- you can't
And
you can't you can't create anything that's not you, which is another way
no,
of saying made in the image. So if you imagine
yeah.
like you're at a old school, because I'm older than you, one of those arcades in the mall where they had all the early video games and stuff. So
Oh, yeah.
imagine you create the video game and you create the avatar. That avatar is you. The only difference between that avatar, even though you designed the game and you think you're so smart and you got it all figured out because it works both ways, is the avatar gains knowledge and creates code by the actions it takes and by gaining the awareness that it is made in the image.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we're just getting into this thing. And, what you're saying about moving into collaboration and creativity, it's not an individual thing. That's what I feel that's different.
Yeah.
I feel what's different is this thing that we're moving into is all about uh, collaboration, co creating, two or more.
Mm.
No one's going to
Yeah.
be out for themselves to try to prove their value to themselves because of lack of love for themselves, no matter how conscious or unconscious we've all been through the same thing. But it's
Mm.
truly, creativity is like making love. Creativity is like planting seeds, fertilizing eggs, birthing new energies. Rumi, Morgan and I went to Hawaii in 2019, and we're on our bones, the bones of our ass, and we find this place that was $400 a week. It was an organic farm, looking over the ocean, like this upstairs apartment with a bed that had a hole in the middle. It was funny as hell. But when we went there, there was there was a coffee table and a couch, and on the coffee table was a Rumi book.
Mm.
And you know how you just shit like that happens, and you open it up and you just start reading. That's what I did, and it was like talking about. And again, it was metaphorical, and his poetry or prose. And he said, every time a masculine and feminine energy come together, there is a new creation. So imagine however many there are, because I know there's not 8 billion. That's a whole other show.
Yeah.
but but imagine even like just say a million, 100 million, a billion people that the hemispheres are uniting in the flesh. Talk about embodiment and
Mm-hmm.
the creativity, the birthing that, like you said earlier, about him coming back. Now, think about that. He was in military attire. He comes back, and you said, quote unquote, he's a clear channel. So imagine a million, 100 million, 110,000, 144,000, whatever the hell, that are in that place. Like, the solar flash isn't going to be the sun, blinking its eye at us. It's going to be us bursting through our hearts simultaneously and coming out on the other side going, holy shit, what a ride. And we're all going to be 25 years old and looking like, whatever, in a paradise. I mean, who knows? But
28 to 42 is the age range I've been shown that we kind of regress back
well, that's
into.
okay. Some nights I like to be 42. Some nights I might want to be 28. But no, I mean, this is like, and it's weird too because, like, look, I'm here in Puerto Vallarta, so that was 6 days ago. It turned into a war zone. I wake up, I have this experience. I walk outside at noon. I'm in this beautiful, authentic little town that I talk about all the time. And I walk out at noon, and everything's shut. And there's no one on the streets. No horses, no three-wheelers, no four-wheelers, no trucks, no cars, no dogs, nothing. It was like being in the fucking Twilight Zone. But my point is, now you have this thing with Iran or whatever the case is, or the bullshit with the Epstein thing, or all the political discourse, which is so fucking stupid to me, because this is, I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just saying it's going to go away. It's all going to go away. It's all going to register in everyone's mind. This isn't even real, you know what I mean? And it's not
Yeah.
looking away from it, but it's because we have to look at everything. Everything we'll have to come to terms with everything. But yeah, just imagine all those clear channels and what will happen. We won't have to plan it. We won't have to strategize it. It's intuitive, creative, imaginative. It's telepathic. It's the present moment functioning with that clear channel that you're talking about. I think your personal story with what you said about this aspect is huge. And I think it speaks to a lot of people on this earth, whether whatever level of consciousness we have in regard to it or not.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, it is. I think, let's say it was Monday. So that dialogue, that communion happened, and it was short and fleeting, and it was unexpected. I was just out for a walk, uh, and his words to me were, well, actually, he dropped down and he merged into my right side, and he said to me, yeah, and he said to me, "You now have all the strength you need to forge forward in what you need to do." He said, "The times you're preparing for are upon us. Disclosure in its full capacity is drawing much closer, and it's time for those that have a voice, that have a platform, to speak the truth."
Wow. Wow. What's
Mm.
crazy about hearing something like that or experiencing something at the beach or whatever, I don't even have the words. And I know it's not just speaking to me. I
Mm.
know it's what you just said.
Mm.
If you have a platform, well, we all have a platform. We're all a portal, right? I mean, this is, like, this is just the tip. As
Yeah,
you see
this.
all that distortion out there that they're playing,
Mm.
these silly games, these things that are gaslighting and contradictory and hypocritical. We're talking about the people that have been telling us what our existence is, basically. And we're coming to this truth within ourselves, but we're sharing it. And I think that's a really important part of what you're talking about because, maybe we talked about it last week. I do so many shows, I don't even know. But it was like, it doesn't matter how many views. that's what's been, that's part of the projection that's being presented to us, which we've been a part of. The liberation is having the faith and the spiritual confidence in the energetic field, which many of us have been part of grid work and creating the new Earth grid, which was actually probably getting rid of the layers of overlays on the grid because it never left. It was here from the beginning, kind of thing, right? So, but yeah, we're on the right track. I've never felt this level of inspiration, and I was even at the beach tonight, and I was like doing a sermon. And these 4 or 5 dudes were next to me. They'd been swimming and like looking at me like, what are you doing? But I was speaking I was speaking about all this. Yeah, it was crazy. It was, I felt like I was shifting timelines. And then when I was walking back and I walked by the plaza, there was a lady and a man walking across the street, diagonal. And the lady had crutches. And she stopped me and she said, "Hey, I know you. I met you in November at such and such place." I said, "I've never been there." She said, "Yes, you were. You were dancing. Then you went up and got the microphone and you were singing." And all the time I know I didn't do that because I never been to the place she was talking about. But at the same time, I was going, I did that. Or I'm going to do that. You know what I mean?
You.
You know what I mean? So it was like
Oh my
this.
god.
So this is what this is part of what we acknowledge. We don't look to the internet platforms, including this one, to see where we're at. You know, we allow it to present itself to us, and that's what's happening. It's working. It's working. Now, I don't know what that means, what I just told you. I have no idea. I may be, multiple personality or something. I really don't know. But I've never been to that establishment, ever. Because it's across the highway, and I
No,
don't.
that's just another timeline.
What's that?
That's another timeline.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So this is happening to us, and it's becoming more and more obvious. But I guess, like for me, and that's so crazy too, because when you go to the beach, I'm like, oh, I'm going to do a show with Alicia. I'm like, why is it every time we're going to do a show, it starts to feel weird about an hour before? You're like, oh my God. And then, I'm like, does she even want to go on? And, then you're like, hey, do you want to go on? I'm like, yeah, let's go on. But my point is, there's certain rhythms that are occurring, and it's happening more and more and more. We are converging timelines.
Yeah.
But we're not going to hear about this on the disclosure circuit, conspiracy circuit, and one of the reasons we've been connected for a long time, but this happened organically. This every 2 weeks thing happened organically, and the main reason it happened is because these subjects can be discussed till the day is gone, but to discuss them from the soul is a whole different issue, and that's what I really respect about the work that you do, and that takes a lot. That takes a lot. So, you have my respect.
Likewise. Thank you, Todd.
Yes, I do sing
How do
on
I
the
feel?
beach. She said, "Do you sing on the beach?" I said, "Yes, I do sing on the beach."
I was thinking about you and singing this one. I was like, I wonder if Todd's going to share another song with us sometime soon.
Oh, well, I don't know. Okay.
I'm not going to put you on the spot. It was
No, I
just a
don't
thought that
mind.
I
I don't
had.
mind because you know what? What I'm understanding when I go to the beach is that this is really it. I think what you said earlier about if you have a platform, well, we all have a platform. It doesn't have to be on the internet. It doesn't have. We talk about finding our voice. This is our heart that's speaking. And the heart is the newest iteration of the soul in the universal family. That's how I'd put it. Yeah. You know? Okay. I wish I had some music. Acapella. Man, let me turn the air conditioning off. It's messing me up. Okay. All right. Okay. Have a little bit more tea. Yeah, so, okay. Well, this is actually something that I wrote. I can't write at the beach anymore because I lost my phone on February the 7th, and I have loved the last 21 days. I have no phone. I love that shit. It's great. Okay, so this one's called, it's a soul speak. It's called I Feel. Okay. Let's see if I can get a G, G, G. I feel the sunlight in my eyes all the time and mostly in my holy darkest moments. Revelations unfold, epiphanies exposing, shadows ringing golden roses. The best thing I can do for you is the best thing I can do for me, and everything. It's all the same damn thing. Finding unity with you is truth holding me. There's no space and time between us. I saw Mother Venus come down to Coral Island tonight in La Peñita de El Timba, Nayarit, Mexico. She let me know everything is more than all right. She said, what you see in her is me. Remember, my son, I am you and you are me. She is the best of you and me. Mother Goddess, a holy darkness. You are a spark of love, never, ever, 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 ever ending. Yeah, so that's what it was.
Oh, I love that. Thank you, Todd.
Thank you for giving me the balls to do it.
I was thinking this morning, I was like, oh, we're going to do that again. Oh, you. Thank you. There's
Yeah,
so much code
thank
that
you.
runs through.
Thank you, yeah. This has been incredible. I don't know what this whole collaboration is, but it feels right, and I feel like we're doing our part. And thank you very much. Shout out to Cosmic Gateway and Alisha Braché. Support her, check her out. We're not running commercials here. That's not our style, but yeah, I think there's there's something to be said for supporting each other and putting each other out there. So thank you very much. I love you, Alicia. I love you, everybody out there. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you, everyone.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank
This has
you.
been wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.